Hello, everybody. Coming to you live with a little friend. Are you hanging, Lexi? How are you? I'm super excited today because I get to hang out with one of the most sacred people in my life on this live. And no, it's not Lux, my beautiful golden retriever, although she's definitely a top 10. I get to hang out with my friend Chris. He is a Sovereign Healer graduate of the school, but he's also in the process of becoming a Sovereign Healer teacher. And this is kind of like my first introduction into what's coming for the Sovereign Healer. You may have seen on the Sovereign Healer page that there's a Path 3, and that Path 3 is the Sovereign Healer University. The university is a 13-day in-person experience. And now, I love me a challenge, but I would never lead a 13-day experience of the Sovereign Healer on my own. One thing that I have always been really, really passionate about is lifting up other people. Allowing other people's unique abilities to shine. I truly believe that's a big part of what my mission is. Helping you understand your unique abilities. The only way you'll know what your unique abilities are is if you access your sovereignty. If you remove the films of validation and desperation and find what is true for you. And so I watched different people who've been through the school, who've been previous clients of mine, who had a certain je ne sais quoi. They had this very normal yet exquisite feeling about them. They had this understanding of what I was trying to build behind the Sovereign Healer. And in many ways, they had been trying to build that in their own lives, in their own unique ways. And so I've decided to initiate 6 teachers to be the teachers of the Sovereign Healer methodology in 2025. So when you join the Sovereign Healer school, the mastermind, or the university, you will now be introduced to some of the teachers. And Chris is going to be one of them. Chris and I have had a very wild relationship where he would send me a dream that he had, and it was directly connected to an insight that I had had. And so he would message me and I would message him and we'd go. And this has just continued to develop. And so I am so excited that he is going to be here today to chat about his growth, so that I can highlight him in everything that he has done. I'm also so blessed that I get to allow him to take the stage and talk about how his growth has transformed him into the work that he's going to do. And Lord knows we need more divine masculines who are lifting up divine masculines in the world. And I'm so excited that I get his expertise in the Sovereign Healer way. So, first things first, a celebration of what's to come in the Sovereign Healer growth. Teachers, your average yet inexplainable wizards who live just normal lives and walk among us, but are all Harry Potters that are going to be contributing to the Sovereign Healer way moving forward from June 2025's cohort on. Which is amazing. And Christopher being a part of this movement. So I'm going to take some time to interview Chris. I hope that you can hang with us for a little bit. If you've got the time and space, that would be great, because there's just going to be a lot of value about his growth. But also, if this is something that you've been interested in learning about the school, curious about the school, or you've been in the school and you're curious about different avenues, Chris has been a part of all of them. And so he's going to be the first person who's going to be able to support you. So Chris, could you request to join me, my friend, and then we will take it from there. I'm excited.
I think I did it. Hello, Chris.
Whoa.
Are we matching?
Blue. Blue is the color. If you got blue on,
It's
then yeah.
navy blue, brother. It is
Mhm.
throat
Yeah.
chakra.
Yes. Yes.
How are you? I appreciate you for being here today.
Oh, I'm so awesome. Yeah, thank you for allowing me to come on, just speak what's on my mind. So,
Absolutely. I am so glad that you're the first person that I get to interview because our relationship has just been so intriguing.
yeah.
Like, really haven't known each other for that long, but it's just been like this very clear understanding that we're going to collaborate and we're on the same wavelength in what we want to contribute to the world. And so I'd love to hear, for anybody who is called to listen, one, how did you find me? And like, how did you get infused in the sovereign healer experience? What has your journey been like being introduced into the work?
Oh, oh, okay. Yeah. So that this will go back a little bit, but yeah, I'll take everyone back. Um, so honestly, like first off, I've been on this journey for a little bit now, but probably not as long as some other people who are in this chat or like going to listen to this. And that's the thing that I think makes me quite a bit unique because I think it was um, back in 2022, I think was when I first discovered you, around the time where I was going through like some weird things. Like basically my awakening started to happen. I was starting to get like the wake up calls from spirit. And I just remember one day just like scrolling and I found your page. Like it wasn't even your page. I think it was like an old reel of you doing like one of those like back and forth reels, like talking about money, like if you were on a date with money, like years ago. And I was like, who is this? I don't know, but like I enjoy listening to what she's doing. And that kind of progressed. And then I had no idea like what you did at all at that time. And yeah, I just like continued, walking my path, like just um, deepening, finding out what the hell was happening to me, like starting to see spirits and like starting to hear things and like feel things that I had never felt before. Um, and that just like sent me on this journey of, searching for truth about what's going on and are other people going through this because it was so different to anything that I had ever been through in my life. Um, Coming from a background mostly rooted in religion where I had a relationship with God and like I had understanding of like kind of what my place was in the world, but I still it didn't feel like it was my path. And I started to walk this sovereign path of trying to figure that out. And so like that was a lot of my 2022, like trying to figure things out and like spirit sending me all these different resources, you being one of them that I didn't even know would be like one of the biggest ones for me in my psychic development. And it wasn't until I pretty much just like got to the part of my journey where I had to let go a lot of things and kind of like hermit for a bit. And I started to um, wanted to seek like I always knew that there was more, like that there was more than I was seeing on an everyday basis. And I started to dabble in the world of plant medicine, which clearly showed me that it validated my feeling that there's more to this world than what I can see or what I've been told in a church, in a book, or by anybody else. Um, and that opened me up after, I started like all of my senses started coming on more. And then, I started to do a meditation practice, at some point a few years ago, just purely to like ground myself. I was this whole journey kind of started and it caught me in a time in my life where I was like confused, like I was walking down. Now I know it was because I was walking down a path that wasn't my true path.
Ooh,
It just stirred so much friction. Um, And like with that, I needed some sort of practice to help me to like recenter myself and just like actually start a relationship with myself, which I didn't have before, you know? So that was quite interesting, you know, starting to meditate and like listen and feel what's happening. Where's my like my intuition guiding me? And I got to a point where later, like a year had gone, I had just done so much, you know, excavation and hiring different people, you know, kind of trying to figure out what's going on. And I think one of the biggest things that really launched me into going down the path of opening my psychic gifts was I I went and had a past life regression done. And during that session, when I was put under the hypnosis, my at one point my higher self was called through, and now I'm going through this session like listening to what my higher self is saying,
Huh.
and it's resonating and it validated so many things that I had felt about myself. And while that was really cool, when I came out of that, I was like, well, I don't want to go under hypnosis every time, just talk to my higher self. Like, I want to be able to do this just every morning. And it was at some point in 2023, that's where I was like, okay, there's something here. Gifts are opening. I need to find somebody who can help me to harness this because I don't know where to go from here. And I think that was around the time where I was like, oh, Victoria has this psychic school. Like, I think that would be really, like, really good for me. That feels good. Like, let's go there, you know? And yeah, I remember just being like, yeah, I have to do this. I have to do this. Like, I feel like there's at one side, it's like, I want to connect deeper with my own technology, but then I also feel like there's things that are wanting to interact with me too, but I want to do that in a safe manner, you know? And I didn't know what that looked like either. So that's what really brought me to the school. And the rest just, I mean, we can hit on it, but it was, yeah, yeah.
Well, I think it's so important to acknowledge that it has been a short timeline. Your introduction into the Sovereign Healer had really only been the 2024 year. But even before that, the call to truth, to eradicate the confusion that you had basically been indoctrinated into, was that deeper call over the last 3 years or so. And so I think that's an important dialogue because it acknowledges that when you follow the truth, a lot of really strong advancement can actually happen at a very quickened speed without taking any shortcuts. So this kind of leads me to what happened in your first round of the Sovereign Healer experience? Because now you're in the mastermind and you've been in there since the end of 2024. I would love to just hear, walk me through your process of your first experience inside of the Sovereign Healer School. What opened up for you? What truths came to light for you? And what clarity did you get about your unique path?
Good question. Okay. Yeah, I can't stress enough like the importance of the beginning stages, like that first quarter of the program, because like I was saying, I had no psychic hygiene at all, no protection skills, and to go in and like within the first 3 or 4 months to gain like the masculine container tools basically to have steps to be able to ground myself, be in a protected space, because that was really important as I'd had weird experiences before that I didn't want to continue happening. So I was able to gain the clarity and the skills and the framework to be able to protect myself, my space, anybody who's in my space, and be able to actually receive information that felt clear. Before that wasn't always the case. It was very like sporadic, and I wasn't really sure, was this me? And there's just all this like second guessing. But from the first few months, I was able to gain that clarity, and just like putting the reps in, was able to get basically a clear channel, and like feel safe, like to be able to feel safe in what I'm doing, which I think is crucial for anybody really, who has had any past experiences that were kind of negative, is to really cultivate that safety. And then, I mean, from there, after the framework was done, it just led what was meant to happen to really emerge, where like my upper chakras were then able to really open up in a way that I did not expect at all, throughout the second half of the course, really. And with some additional support from you, that really like I want to say this, the natural path was able to come through, and which is, going from just like the capability that I could talk to myself, to now having beings, which I would say guides, benevolent beings, that who are here to help me. So it's like always knowing and like getting confirmations from other people outside of me that like it kind of looks like you're supposed to go this way, but not having the guidance, and now having access, at any point when I need it, to be able to call on these resources and just walk my path on my own, essentially, without having to go and get a reading, to go get put under hypnosis, or go to a ceremony just to receive information, where now it's possible just from my meditation cushion. And like, even in addition to that, like the next wave of that was, receiving guides, receiving connection, and then being able to work with them on, them presenting things like, hey, listen, this is like, you have this, you don't know that you have this gift, but it's there. And we're going to help you develop that. And building a relationship with guides like they're my family. Something that's not really external to me, which was incredible. I mean, and it happened so fast. Like it happened so fast. And it really showed me more of it allowed me to tie a lot of pieces together of things that I was doing, resources and skills that I was gaining externally, which was like my, learning how to be more emotionally intelligent, how to, understand and pick up the modality of breath work, and then going through developing my psychic gifts, was like it tied it all together, and I could understand why I learned all these different pieces and how they were going to help people in a very specific way.
Well, first, I just love the journey again, because it's so reaffirming to receive you in real time and feel your natural current energy, even as we're communicating here. I assume anybody who's intuitive here will feel just pure truth from your energy, and that this whole conversation could have been muted and I still would have felt just pure resonance with your natural path. So that's the first piece. The second piece is, I'm curious because you have dabbled in medicine, and you still dabble in medicine, and you also use the modality of breath work. And I personally don't feel like that has been taken away in any way with the Sovereign Healer methodology. If anything, it's reinforced the truth of how you utilize these modalities and these different tools. And so I'd love to hear your perspective as somebody who had already been certified in breath work and had already experienced different medicines. How has the Sovereign Healer way advanced some of the natural tools that you do use to help your connection when it's the right time and space?
Amazing question. Yeah, I think going through, medicine ceremonies without using the protocols and the methodology in the Sovereign Healer versus
Mm.
is,
Hmm.
for me, almost like night and day. So
Love that.
having not having a grounded experience and not being in somewhat of control at all, and allowing the medicine to, move and take you to places kind of uncontrollably, um, can be highly ungrounding. And I've had experiences myself where that can be, slightly traumatic. Let's just say it that way.
Yeah.
But using, the techniques of grounding and even shielding my energy, I think, like, one, grounding is, prior to the ceremony, has allowed me to have such a more inner body experience,
Mm.
um, than prior to, where I'm just floating off in space without my body, and then just get dropped back in my body and be like, whoa, versus feeling like I'm tethered to my body, but exploring
Yeah.
at the same time. It
Love.
is a level of safety within the body that allowed me to journey places without fear,
Mm.
opposed to before. And then the shielding aspect really, for me, was like two things, like, allowed me to feel safer in the experience, like my human to feel safer in the experience, even though I'm trusting and having faith in my facilitators,
Mm.
that they are protecting the space, but it's like my own lair that I was able to feel safe to journey in, because that can be a bit
Yeah.
frightening for people. And it also, using those two techniques really helped me to integrate my experience better, because
Mm.
the lessons and the activations and the clearings felt more in the
Mm.
body, and the lessons were able to land back in my
Love it.
body, versus just being mental aspects that, take months to integrate back in. So that was really my biggest take, from those as well.
Oh, good. I'm so glad, Chantel, that this is gold for you. This is why I want
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
on. There's just so many different layers to your growth and development, the time and space that you've been deeply like invested in your growth, and yet how much profundity has occurred in such a short linear amount of time. So, and that's also helpful for me as somebody who recreationally has enjoyed different plant medicines but has never actually went into deep journey, namely because I just haven't been called. I believe that you should be called to the medicine that you participate in. And so as somebody who has, founded the Sovereign Healer, and I know I have a lot of clients who are deeply called to medicine work, and actually even facilitating and working with medicine, it's helpful for me to know that it is still serving your natural path. If anything, the methodology, as you've shared here, has actually helped you enhance what you already are naturally called to do. And that's what I want the school to feel like. I want it to feel like the work that you do with men now and coach them and serve them is now benefited and can go so much deeper because you have that safety, because you don't have confusion, because you have a clear channel. When you go into medicine work, you now have that protocol that you can go, whoa, I'm actually like in control, and control is actually power, because I
Mm-hmm.
am the one in this experience that is having this life. And sure, it's amazing to have access, but just because I can doesn't mean I should. And you're such a beautiful representation of that, because everything has come through with your guides in such gorgeous miracle moment, as I like to say, where no one can take those moments away from you. So I appreciate you for bringing that in, because it's confirming for the work that we're doing inside of the school to know that it doesn't take away. And for anybody who had a question about that, like, some people do Reiki and are Reiki masters and come into the school and it helps them develop their skills. This isn't like when you come in, you're never going to touch the modalities that you use. It's like, let's just be very clear. If that's not your natural path, the school will reveal that for you. If that is not your highest truth, your sovereignty will show you the direction, right? You will have that direct connection that will give you the clarity that you need. So this would actually lead me to my next question. You mentioned that you had some negative experience in the past, and they made you feel definitely confused about your direction, a little bit of piecemealing from like here and here and here and here to try to figure out like where does it all come together. So my question is, at the end of your experience in this school, or maybe even it took a bit of time after, let's go present day. So it's January 10th. What clarity do you have about your path at this point? What do you do in the world? What is your service? Share that with us.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. So, oh man, there are a lot of things I think, but one of the things that I'm absolutely sure of is standing up into my rightful place as a leader of a new age that we're clearly going into at a simple state. Where it drills down more is, and I think my path is quite unique in a way that I am a man who understands a lot of these concepts, and in a way I exercise them in a way um, that is very more flowy, and it's very more like soft in a way that I can understand. And I guess the way that I could explain that is like the way that I can balance my energies, which actually allows me to receive things that maybe somebody very masculine could be more difficult. So I've discovered that, and it in the way that I've also had to think about my experience, I'm also like being a man in this psychic space, I feel is we're outnumbered, I would say. It is more of a feminine dominant space.
Yeah.
And for me to be in it, and that kind of like along this journey, I found myself also being in a lot of spaces that were female dominant. Could be kind of awkward, but I learned from this experience. I was able to witness, you know, what I'm seeing from the feminine, and then also as a man being able to observe, okay, this is clearly what the feminine collective is doing, and then I also see and feel what the masculine collective is going through. And it just put such a like I could see that there needed to be like a further merger back of both energies, you know? And I felt myself to be such an amazing person to help guide men to be in a place to walk through the softenings, getting back into the heart, to be really able to relate back to women. And not only that, but like for the greater purpose of harmony in the world, you know? Whereas I've seen this vision of like, you know, an amazing community, you know, of the future world where we're living in harmony again. You know, I think women have done so much in this space to really like continue to build and like usher in where the energies are going. And now like men are going through an experience and they're needing support in order to get there, so that we can all rise together, versus having this offset and growth where the energies are going to be misaligned in a sense. So with that, that's kind of where I feel myself really coming into place, is to help men walk through their awakening journey, to really like face off with themselves, and to really grow and to be the leaders of a new world, you know, to really not to step into their rightful place in the world, you know, because I think through this, men are seeing women in communities and in, you know, really doing a lot of this spiritual work, and can potentially feel left behind, or like, where is their purpose, you know? And this is really, you know, the time to prepare themselves to step up as the space holder, to be the protector, right? So that, you know, as women are continuing their journeys to be the mothers of the future, and not necessarily only for, you know, creating offspring, but literally birthing new worlds, you know, like birthing more things into the world, for men to, you know, for women to have men there, masculines, to be the person to hold the container for everyone, you know? And yeah, I'm just like, the way that that landed for me, I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
like we're gonna do this, like we're all gonna rise, and
Mm-hmm.
um, being able to use what I've learned in this program, in the Sovereign Healer, and like everything that's guided me through the way, it's just so beautiful to be able to work with men and to really see the light come back into their eyes and the confusion that I went through for so long to just wash away. So.
Mm-hmm. Chris is married, everybody. So any woman who's listening to this and is like, oh, that's the kind of conscious man like I want in my life. He's married. Amber is the best. And like you are such a testimony of what I think so many conscious evolving women are looking for. And this isn't to say that, a woman is more awakened than a man, and it's not really playing in that, but it is about acknowledging that a lot of divine feminines are really ready for their divine masculine partner to step up and to hold the container so they can grow. And it's just really beautiful to see the work that you are doing because it is so needed. So thank you for your service and your commitment to being the container in your own life, in your own relationships, in your own psychic development, so that you can bring all of that knowledge and wisdom to be able to serve the men that you are meant to serve. And I just feel nothing but absolute resonance with the projects and the callings that you are meant to fulfill. And I'm really excited to be able to continue to be your friend in that, be your ally, be your teammate in watching you thrive in that, because that's I think the next big work that we need to see collectively is healing the depth of the men's pain, because it's not only about women the witch wound and the pain of the past, and how many women are just holding all of this trauma in their own way. Men also have these experiences, and exactly, it's lovely to see a man wanting to serve other men, to be of service. Like, thank you. That's exactly the point I was trying to make. It's just really honorable to be able to witness you, to trust that calling and know that like that's a big feat. And I believe because you have your sovereign healer grounding cord, you're just going to be able to continue to serve in resonance and truth. So on that note, it's 333, of course. I want to respect your time as always. And I appreciate you for just like allowing me to interview you and get to know your energy and share your growth with the world, which means a lot to me. What advice would you have for somebody who has maybe been on the fence about any of the three pathways of the sovereign healer? What would you want to advise them or recommend for them about how to feel into what decision is best for them?
Okay. What I would say to somebody is, if they're feeling some sort of tug to go down this path, to take the leap, because that was the thing that I learned even through this journey. Not even my whole journey, but just during the school journey, is that when I personally followed the intuition to jump into something else, just to jump into something bigger, that I felt it always worked out. So if there's ever fear or hesitation, that it's going to work out, and it can be hard to, fight the resistance at first of like, oh, should I be doing this? I'm not sure. Is this a thing? Like, you can always try it. And if it's not your thing, then fair. But, I think one of the things that we share, eye to eye in the same wavelength on, is really that this is a bigger game. And, it would behoove us to at least try and explore our path now in this lifetime and run towards that, whatever that looks like, versus not doing it. Saying no to something and, walking down a different timeline, which could be great. But I think we're you know, wanting to live the right natural path, you know, and playing the game of the soul, right? Like this is the Scorpio rising talking, but
Yep.
walking the game of the soul and really finally doing the thing that you came here. I don't know how many times it is to try to do on Earth, and finally do it this time on Earth. So
Yes, 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 yes. I love that last little bit that you brought through because that's it. The school will get to a point where these are just really good tools to have through life as we navigate all of the external threats that are happening. We're seeing it, unfortunately, worldwide. We're seeing it, well, sometimes we're just feeling it and we're not even seeing it. And we are feeling such an immeasurable amount of energy all the time nowadays that these tools are universal. And then once we get a little bit higher through the school, these become lifelong gifts that you can use on anybody, for anybody, and know that you're doing it in integrity to be of service to them. And that's something I like to bring in as well. Like, let's say Chris never decided to take, and this let's say this wasn't his natural path. He didn't want to build a soul aligned service-based business for men. He would still know how to cord cut. He would still know how to remove attachments. He would still know how to be able to cleanse his energy. He would still know how to be able to read other people's energies and support them, whether that be, you know, his partner or his family or a friend who needed support. This is one of the greatest gifts that we can have, is access to the truth. And I would argue there's no other way to access the truth than to have access to your psychic gifts, because your psychic gifts open up the truth. And so let that guide you as well, that what you want, I believe, what we all want is to fulfill why we came here, fulfill our mission. And until we know what our truth is, it'll be very, very hard to create for the right reasons. You'll never actually build the certainty that you are worthy of. That certainty of like, I know I'm on the right path. The world is a wicked place, but I know I'm on my rightful journey. And that's something that the school can give you, even if you're not taking what you've done in the school and actually turning it into a monetizable business. You're a better practitioner if you're serving your cat. You're a better practitioner if you're serving your partner. You're a better practitioner if you're serving yourself. And that, in my opinion, is the greatest gift that you can give humanity. Yeah, last 5 months, I've learned life-changing tools for my own personal spiritual journey that in turn will help me guide all the people in my future who I desire to see truly free. Exactly. You know, yesterday my sister had a migraine. It took no time for me to be like, let me tune in here. Let me clear it out for you. She was like, did you just go in and clear? I'm like, yes. I made no money off of that, but it wasn't about that. It wasn't about monetization. It was about helping. And knowing that within you, in my personal experience, it feels way more validating to be like, whoa, I closed my eyes. I felt the word of God. I knew exactly who my teams of spirit were. I felt the benevolence of Christ consciousness through my being. I could feel unconditional love. And then I just like sent love to somebody and it like worked. You know, like there's no better feeling than like, I didn't need to like plug into or like go into a thing like you were saying, Chris. I didn't need to go into some deep hypnosis and be like, there's my higher self. I closed my eyes. I got my prep together, 5 to 8 minutes, and I was there. That's, I think, greater than just, you know, you want to be an energy healer, you want to develop your psychic gifts. These are weapons that you can use through your evolution, regardless of how you use it. But know that how you use it will be benevolent. So I just wanted to add in that as well, just kind of like infuse on the back end of what you're saying, because I feel like it really wraps things up really nicely. So Chris, do you feel complete? Is there anything else that you want to share in the space? Are you feeling like that feels good for me?
I think one of the things, yeah, just a little bit more, kind of like springboard off of what you were saying, was I think I spent a lot of time talking about like the core values, because those are what's like I think are the most important. But at the same time, as like the development of the upper chakras and learning how to navigate those, I agree, is so important, you know, to be able to guide your own natural path, you know? Because yeah, like you said, is even if we're not going to be a healer per se, we're still able to have crystal clear connection to guide our life wherever it needs to go and not need to pay attention to the external world to get validation or get pulled somewhere else that is off of our natural path. So I think learning these skills will keep somebody always, if they're using them, on their natural path. Yeah, I think that was really what lastly wanted to come through there.
Love that. Chef's kiss. You know, when the school changed from OAG, which was its previous name, to Sovereign Healer, it felt like one of the biggest reclamations of my entire life, because I never understood what I know now about what I teach in the school until I went through the most nefarious experience ever. And it felt like when I claimed the Sovereign Healer, it was like, I am the Sovereign Healer. Actually, I'll share this. I'll leave this here and then I'll be complete, I promise. The day that I started to use the Sovereign Healer, one of my clients reached out and was like, there's this girl who's copying your page. Like, look at her grid. It's basically copying yours, and she's using the Sovereign Healer. And I'm like, I just submitted the trademark. It's not in yet. Like, blah, 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 blah. But I reach out to her and I'm saying, hey, you know, I'm in the process of trademarking the Sovereign Healer. Like, this is going to be a really like big vision. It seems like you're just like launching a 1-week program. Like, I just want to let you know, like, this will be trademarked in the US registry very shortly. And she's like, oh, I looked into it and like, it's not actually registered yet. And so I just want you to know, like, if you have concerns, like, bring it to my lawyer and we'll go from there. And I started profusely sweating. I was like, if she registers this before now I'm concerned. I'm like, the interference that was coming in was like, I don't know what else this would be. This is the Sovereign Healer. It has to be the Sovereign Healer. This has to be trademarked. This has to be the name, has to be what it is. And I'm like reaching out to my lawyer, like, what's the ETA? Like, did someone else register? Like, class 42, like, put it in there, put it in. She's like, you're fine. Finally, like, it was like 2 days, and like the perspiration was like at an all-time high, because once she knew I was trademarking it, whoever gets it in first essentially is what it is. By the grace of God, this just goes to like, when it's your natural path, God will move mountains. And my heart's desire was in the right place. Congratulations, Victoria. You have registered, you know, the Sovereign Healer trademark. It's now in the application, which means no one else can use the Sovereign Healer as the trademark. But it was like right down to the wire of the moment where I was like, if this is meant to be my natural path, this is in God's hands. I've done everything I can. I've reached out and said, hey, I'm letting you know, like, this is going to be trademarked very shortly. And it's very clear that you're, you know, using my IP. Can we not use my content? And what I received in return was like, whoa, this might be head for head. And then God was like, you know what? I'm the creator of everything. So I'm just going to move this along. And this is such a testimony of breakthrough, but also like the power that surged the Great Merge the Sovereign Healer forward. It was like the moment of reclamation. No, I am the Sovereign Healer. This is why I'm here. This is what we're meant to do. This is bigger than this. It's time to remove the old name for the real identity. And now we're here. Dude, down to the wire. When she was like, my lawyer's looking into it, I was like, this is where it ends. Or, God, I need you. Jesus really needs to take the wheel. Like, because I can't rush this process, but if it's meant to be, Lord, please let it be. And it was. And so I think that's such a beautiful reminder that you might feel a lot of pressure about who you're meant to be, you know, But when it's right, it'll be done.
Mhm.
The revelation of the true sovereignty of God, yes, made super obvious. And Chris, I see that in you. Through all the things that I know was not shared here today, but that you have went through to truly embody the work that you do, through the pressure came something so beautiful you could not deny it was God.
Mhm.
And I see that in you. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for who you are. Thank you for being the person who reached out and was like, I don't know, like, I feel like I see this like being like a school or something, like a physical school. And I was like, what do you mean you see this being a physical school? I see this being a physical school.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
good. Like,
Uh,
reached out and was like, I don't know if it was it a dream or was it a meditation where you saw that the school.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it was after we had done some private work together, and then like a few weeks later, I was like, "Phew, okay, yeah, there's a physical location."
Yep. And now you're here and you're
Mhm.
going to be a teacher. And I certainly hope that anybody who's interested in this school, even just being in the virtual, will feel your energy and know that they're in the right hands moving forward. And even if you're in this school right now, if you choose to be like, I want to be a part of the mastermind next year, or I would love to be in person, I would also love to even rejoin this school, you will have Chris as a resource and as a tutor and as somebody, as a deep ally in this journey. And that like makes me emotional to think about, because it's just such a gift to be able to share who you are and what you do and how beautiful your spirit is. So thank you. Is it the full moon in Cancer or what? It's just something in my eye. Thank you, brother. I appreciate your heart, your
Thank
soul,
you.
spirit, and all of your time and space here today.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Amazing. And thank you everybody who felt called to chime in. If anyone has like questions or any like lingering pieces, I'm sure Chris can be an ally if that's something that feels good for you, Chris, and for anybody who's interested. But I wish you all a beautiful, blessed full moon whenever you receive it. And Chris, I love you, brother. Thank you so much.
Likewise. Love your sister. Take care.
Bye.